Joseph W. Brady seeks a summit led by Senator Scott Wilk and Assemblymen Tom Lackey and Juan Carrillo to address the infrastructure crisis.
So, Terry, let me take you back 3 or 4 Mondays. So this video is being done for a couple of people, and we'll share it with others. But the three primary people that we're going to send this to is Senator Scott Wilk. Senator, Happy New Year to you and your family. My good friend, Assemblyman Tom Lackey. So Tom oversees the assembly district that I live in, and our new assembly member from the Palmdale area, who he picks up Palmdale, Little Rock, Lake Los Angeles, Sun Village, and he picks up part of Adelanto and Victorville, and that's Assemblyman Juan Carrillo. So he's with the 39th District, and I want to welcome him. We have a problem out here in the high desert region, Mojave River Valley, and I don't think that the issue is any different in Assemblyman Carrillo's area. So to kind of go back in time, I moved from Santa Barbara, California on Friday, May 13th, 1988, and I moved here at 2:45 in the afternoon. And part of the reason I moved here at 31 years old was water was the controlling deal in Santa Barbara, and quite candidly, I couldn't make a living. So a report came out that was dated in 1989, and it was the then, it was called the Phase 2 Final Report, Victor Valley Infrastructure Enhancement Program. And it was commissioned by John Joyner, who was the chairman of the San Bernardino County Board of Supervisors and was the first district supervisor. So he went through and put this report together, and at the time it said that it was like 1.2 billion or 1.3 billion in infrastructure. This is in 1989. So that was parks, water, sewer, roads and things like that, libraries and things like that. Well, so we saw what happened with George Air Force Base. That closed, and that stopped any money from being spent really between 1990 and about 1999. And then we went through this great expansion when our state government still had redevelopment agencies, so there was tax increment coming, and the cities could use some of the tax increment for projects that they felt on infrastructure. And then Governor Jerry Brown took that $5 billion away. So we've got a great problem here, and I'm asking the three of you to strongly consider a date, sometime, let's say September, October, could be in early November, sometime prior to the end of the second week, where the three of you help sponsor, and I'll help work with you, and I'll even bring it up to the Board of Trustees tonight, probably at our April 11th Board of Trustees meeting, that maybe the college host a lunch, and the lunch would be really brought to you by, led by State Senator Wilk, State Assemblyman Carrillo and Lackey. Why? I'll tell you candidly why. We have no leadership out here. I know everybody that's an elected official. They know me, and they know I call it the way it is. If they like it, great. If they don't, they don't. I'm not worried at 66 years old, having been out here for 35 years. We've almost done $1 billion in commercial real estate. We've brought in a fair amount of income and fed a lot of families. I'm deeply concerned that we have 3 great projects right now, 2 actually. The third one, that infrastructure will take care of itself, that we are not prepared for this. So we talk about we want growth out here, we welcome growth out here. We have five very pro-growth cities. We have 5 pro-growth councils, the majority of them. We have a council member here and there that's not, but we are not prepared. So what's the deal? We have hopefully the Bright Line speed train that will hopefully be funded this year in 2023. And that's anywhere from a 4 to 5 year project. It's anywhere from an $8 to $10 billion project. And it's anywhere from creating 30 to 40,000 construction jobs. My question to the three of you, where are those people going to live? Okay, so in our portion of the high desert here, I can tell you that on single family rentals, the vacancy rate is probably less than 1%. and the landlords are doing really well. If you go into the multifamily market, you take a look, it's about 1% as well. So just Brightline alone, what's that going to do? Well, then we have another positive development with Burlington Northern Santa Fe coming into Barstow. So they have purchased 4,000 to 4,500 acres of the inner port that they're going to build. They're building it between Linwood Road and Hinckley Road, right off of Route 66 Main Street, whatever you want to call it, National Trails Highway. And that is going to create 22,000 jobs. Those are 22,000 permanent jobs, and they're going to be good jobs. Question is, where are these people going to live? So our roads are not ready, our sewer lines are not ready, our water lines are not ready, our parks are not ready. And as a society on out here, if we want to raise the bar for people, how are we going to do it if we don't have the infrastructure? So Terry remembers, and if you like, just email me, and Terry will pull the first the first video we did. So look how thick this infrastructure report is. And I can tell you, this thing weighs at least 10 plus pounds. So when I recorded this segment, a segment very similar to this, back probably about 3 months ago, I challenged our 5 city managers. I sent this video to 5 city managers, and I asked Niels Benson, I asked Keith Metzler, I asked Jesse Flores, I asked Doug Robertson, and I asked Willie Hopkins, who would like this binder to borrow to take a look at infrastructure? And the only one that responded was Keith Metzler. Okay, and I know them all. Now I'm not pointing fingers, but when I say to you we are divided, it's not a question. This is Joseph Brady's idea. This is our problem. So I'm sitting here today with Terry Kurtz and his son Robert. You know, Robert is a lot younger than I am. He's less than half my age, and he's going to have to deal with this. How are people going to get down Bear Valley Road? I mean, we don't have the freeway system that we once envisioned. We don't have the high desert corridor that we talked about. At one time, many years ago, I remember there's a loop system that took 138 around, and then it would wrap around. It would be kind of like on a miniature scale what they've done over in Vegas. They've done a great job over in Vegas. They've done really a great job down there in Phoenix. So, you know, many of you know, or you don't know, I'm trying to build a custom home in Prescott, Arizona. And so when you're driving around these cities, you take a look and say, wow, they really prepared themselves. So why don't we prepare ourselves? So let me cut to the chase. We will help you identify through your staffs. We obviously know we have 5 city councils. We have 5 planning commissioners in each one. We have the Mojave Water Agency, I think the best run water agency around. Assemblyman Tom and Assemblyman Juan, I hate to tell you, but I think that we're running a whole lot better than AVEK, which is the Antelope Valley East Kern, which is a good group. We have the Mojave Desert Air Quality Management District. They run both areas. We have Victor Valley Community College, okay, I think would help facilitate this lunch. We have a great chef out there. I would suggest that, you know, we invite the top, 10 civil engineers and architects and commercial brokers and industrial contractors and residential contractors, and really have a discussion amongst the cities and the different municipalities on what are we going to do. How this is not going to magically appear. And I think that you're all looking, going, wow, yeah, I think, and it's not like we can wake up tomorrow and hope that it's here. I think we owe it to our residents. I think we owe it to the residents that are here today. I think that whether they're going to benefit from this infrastructure, but I think we need to benefit the kids that are out here, or your great grandkids, that we give them some kind of an opportunity, and we really sit down and figure out how we're going to do this. So we understand how CEQA works, and that would be a delay. I think that between the 3 of you working together in tandem, hopefully maybe you could get the governor's office behind this. We're going to need some serious money here. My guess today, to take care of the infrastructure work that we're going to need here in the high desert region, including Barstow, and that's roads and water, flood control, parks, libraries, things like that. You could probably easily chew through $3 billion. What is $3 billion anymore? I mean, they were throwing $1 trillion here and $1 trillion around during COVID like it was nothing, and look what it did. It caused a recession. But Terry, one of the things I get is I get the Phoenix Business Journal, and here's just it's a weekly, and it's great. And there's billions of dollars going to Phoenix, expanding Arizona infrastructure grants. So they've got it. I've got an entire file. I mean, this thick on infrastructure. I mean, Biden's talked about it, Trump talked about it. Here's banking on infrastructure. This is in Washington Examiner. Pair of bipartisan House members pushed for a privately funded entity to finance projects. There's a point where we need to come together, and I think the three of you can help us do that. Well, I'm hoping that the three of you will agree. I'm willing to sit down with the college and help coordinate this. I'm willing to help identify. We know who the shakers and movers are on up here, and there are a couple shakers and movers up here that I may not personally like, but they are leaders within the region. I think that they would need to be there. So the major categories, again, I've mentioned. So give it some thought. As they say, like emails, videos are around for a long time too. So I look forward to hearing from each one of you. My cell number, I'm going to have Terry posted on there, but if you need it, 760-954-4567. I start early. I go to bed early. At night. I'm deeply concerned about this. I think this is probably one of those issues that bothers me the most. And let me tell you where this kind of came from. So I have kept this binder on my desk for the last 20 years. But a month ago, I had the opportunity of speaking to Levita, Lucerne Valley Economic Development Authority, and it's just an absolutely incredible group. They're out in Lucerne Valley. I can't wait every year for them to invite me because when you have Linda Gommel and Bill that works with her at Lucerne Valley Market and Chuck Bell and Millie Rader, you just got an incredible Dave Ribb. You've got an incredible amount of people in Lucerne that deeply care about Lucerne Valley. And some of them want to see some growth and some don't want to see some growth. So I went out there on a Monday and I gave my projections of the future and talked about I-15 and Brightline and BNSF. And I had a gentleman by the name of John Smith. He wasn't really happy, and he asked a question right in the middle of my presentation. And he asked me who the person was that I would suggest be named in the class action lawsuit for all the challenges and problems that will be brought about because of the lack of infrastructure. So I stood there and I was kind of taken back. I've given over 1,000 speeches. I've never had anybody ever do that. So I thought, well, so I explained to him that I came out to talk about the glass being half full, not half empty. But I thought about what he had to say. And there was a lady there. I didn't get her name. She had blonde hair, and she was upset about all the growth coming up here. And I explained to her that the people that want growth are not going to come out to Lucerne Valley because Lucerne Valley is more of an agricultural area and bigger sized properties. But he really, as I left that night, it didn't make me mad. It really kind of challenged me. So the next morning I woke up and I was getting ready, and I said to Deb, I said, you know what? I'm going to reach out to Scott Wilkes, who I know and trust, and Tom Lackey, who I know and trust, and Juan Carrillo. And I think that really based on the last conversation, what I shared with Juan in an earlier the video, that Dr. Walden really enjoyed meeting him recently and thinks that he can make things happen. I'm going to challenge the three of you guys, legislators and elected officials, to challenge the Valley to this meeting. And I don't think we dance around. I think we pick a date that the three of you guys can do it, and we do it, because otherwise there's going to be somebody that says, oh, I don't want to do that, or blah, blah, blah. This is not, again, about me, and it's not about the three of you. It's about we, and it's about this valley. So I want to close and just thank you for taking the time to watch this, and I look forward to hearing from you in the very near future.
We see a somewhat different side of Joseph W. Brady in this segment of our interview, a segment I'll call 6 Boxes.
So back in August of 2022, in closed session, a gentleman by the name of Dakota Higgins stood up and told the San Bernardino County GOP that Joe Brady doesn't support the GOP. Okay? So Dakota, we are not done with that, and we are going to be sure that someday that because Dakota, we now have everybody's contact information, their mailing address, their email, and so on. So I'll probably end up sending this, but what I want to say to you and Shannon, and also to Phil Cothran, we do support the Republican cause. Okay, I don't like somebody speaking for me in closed session and saying I don't support the Republican cause. I don't know how much money that you've given the GOP in this counter. I don't know how much money you give nationally, but I think, Dakota, when you say things like that, every time now when I've gotten this mail, I really think about you. So this will give you an idea that, yeah, I wouldn't be getting this kind of mail if we weren't writing the checks. So I think the next time that you say something in closed session, you should think about it, because that's going to follow you forever. This video is forever. I'm going to send to Shannon. I know that she doesn't want to get any emails from me, and that's okay. But I think that sometimes when people shoot their mouths off and they don't know what they're doing, they should be careful about what they're going to find. So I won't say how much I've given. I'm proud of what we give. If you can, you give, and you so everybody, these elections are pretty expensive. So I've been a registered Republican all my life. I voted my first vote at 18 years old, and I've never missed an election. And I like giving to certain candidates, okay? But let me tell you where I think the problem now has come. These 6 boxes right here weigh 106.4 pounds, okay? And when I say 106.4 pounds, it was May 1st of last year. We have our mail. Our mail goes to a P.O. box, and we have it delivered every day. And I just would get a lot of political mail. So in the corner, we had a box, and you just kind of throw it in the box, and the box got filled, and I decided to drop it off at my favorite congressman's office. I mean, I've only got one favorite congressman, and that's J.O. Bernoldi. And I took it down to his office for him to see the amount of mail that you get. So when we talk about the wastage of funds in Washington, okay, imagine the wastage of funds to try to get me to give more money. So in this box right here, this will give you an idea. This box is full, okay? And every one of these boxes is full. And what's ironic about it is I just kept, I don't know why I was saving it. So we went through the election last year. And what I find is if you give, whatever you give to one person, they must share all these lists. So it tends to multiply, and I think it's crazy. So at the end of the day, between May 1st of last year and this is April 11th of this year, I have received 106.4 pounds of political garbage that I haven't even opened. So these are things I haven't even opened. Okay, so if people wonder, I mean, I'm going to tell you, we have some great political people. We have a lot of great elected people in this country that have given of their life, and they have the means to do it. But I'm going to tell you, you give them $1 one time, and then they just hammer you. And I'm really convinced that they share the list. So we are actually moving our office. We're moving sometime in May. So this gives me a great opportunity to free up 6 boxes for the move. I'm going to send this to J.O. Bernoldi. I'm going to send it to Senator Wilk, my favorite state senator in California. I'm going to send it to my good friend, Assemblyman Tom Lackey, and I'm going to send it to Assemblyman Juan Carrillo. Now, while Juan is a Democratic representative, he is still an assemblyman that represents our area, and I don't think it has anything to do whether he's Democrat or Republican or Libertarian. I think that he cares a lot about his area, cares a lot about the part of our area he's got. So I want to share this with him, and then we'll post this video, and I don't know where it's going to go, but with that, I just thought I'd make kind of fun of it and call it a day. So thanks, Terry.
Joseph W. Brady introduces us to a very important book.
Terry, I have held this book, believe it or not, on my rear credenza on my desk for the last 25 years. What is this book, and what does it mean? This is a really important book. People are going to hear me do some writings about it. I love to read. I like to educate. So back in 2019, I decided to come in on a weekend, turn on the dictaphone, kind of go through, take a look. So at the end of the day, in 1989, John Joyner was our chairman of the Board of Supervisors, and he was our supervisor for the first district. The next one was Marcia Tarosi, okay? And they did this report to talk about the fast-growing Victor Valley and what it was going to need in the way of infrastructure, okay? Between 1988 and 1992, they were believing that we needed $377 million. Between 1993 and 2010, $822 million, and total by 2010 of $1.2 billion. Now, what does that represent? That was water, sewage, drainage, roads, schools, parks, fire, police, and libraries. Okay, I can tell you this: we only hit a portion of this. So the committee that was a part of this, I mean, this is back in the day, Terry, when I came here, and I mean, Joe Watson was around, and Don Brown had Mastercraft Homes, and Roy Vance, and I mean, it was a vibrant place. It was small. It had 125,000 people. We got 500,000 a day. And if people don't like the traffic on Bear Valley Road or Highway 18 or Main Street, let me tell you, it's only going to get worse because development's coming here, whether we like it or not. I mean, there's just a 1 million square foot distribution center approved on Ottawa near Sperry Road in a great location with the only rail spur left in the high desert. I think that every council person should see this on up here. I think that every planning commissioner should see this. We're going to have great growth up here, and unless we address the issues that we're addressing here, Terry, we're going to run into a problem that the reports here, if your city wants me to deliver it and they want to make 5 or 10 copies, they can. This is really, I've never seen one since. And I'll tell you what's funny, I've never heard a supervisor, even including our current supervisor, Paul Cook, ever talk about it. Because it's not important, okay? I don't think that he thinks it's important. I don't think his staff thinks it's important. I don't even know if Don Rowe knows about this or even thinks it's important. But this is the high desert, and this is where the growth is going to go. And if we are, we're going to need to have that infrastructure. And lastly, all of our state officials, Tom Lackey's our new assemblyman, just a great guy. I've known him for a long time. I think he's going to be a great assemblyman. Scott Wilk, Scott, I know you're passionate. He started his career in the community college system. Jay Obernoldi, I just think is the greatest congressman that we're going to have, although, Jerry Lewis was good. He brought a lot of money back when he was on the appropriation side. And hopefully Don Rowe, and maybe we'll get a call from Paul Cook personally and say, what can I do to kind of lead the charge of this? So, Terry, I just want to say, I think this is really important, and I finally brought it out, and hopefully people will understand why I think it's important. We can't keep kicking this can down the road anymore. So happy New Year to everybody. I hope you have a great day, and God bless America.